In line with global best practices and increasing concerns by growing spate of humanitarian challenges in Nigeria, which led to the establishment of a dedicated Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and that was in the year 2019. Over time, complexities of conflicts and natural disasters saw the present administration of President Bola Tinubu renamed the viable entity in 2023 to become the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Today, the ministry, with agencies under its supervision, has taken the challenge to manage all manners of human displacements, disaster mitigation and responses, coordination of relief, social protection, poverty reduction, rehabilitation, and resettlement. And wait a minute, that's just the tip of the gargantuan mandates. This is Reshaping Democracy. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs that stands as a child of necessity is on its toes, managing government's benevolence and continuously evolving sustainable solutions, supporting the vulnerable and reducing poverty. The Minister of States, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, is on Reshaping Democracy to tell us more about achievements and work in progress to raise the bar of humanitarian service delivery.
I have a question for the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. So the question I have for you is that how challenging is humanitarian policy development and implementation with the increasing spate of human displacement due to conflict and natural disasters?
Well, thank you so much for these very important questions, and let me start by thanking the general public for tracking and monitoring the progress of the governance under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR. This is about democracy in terms of emphasizing on freedom of speech, which Mr. President surely is advocate of that even before becoming the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And today he's demonstrating that to allow people to ask questions, to make comments without being harassed. Well, generally, if you turn to ask of the coordination of humanitarian challenge activities under this situation that we find ourselves, where the country is being challenged by both human and natural disasters, with so many people displaced. As of today, we have almost 3 million Nigerians that are displaced. This is just not a figure. It means a number of almost a state. If you had to bring those people together, or even a country in Africa. Some African countries are less than that number. Now, we have some challenges, but the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is ready to face that. One of the major challenges, and what we do, is lack of coordination. That various organs of governments are doing their own, development partners are doing, different tiers of government are doing their this. And secondly, apart from the lack of coordination, we have paucity of funds, both globally, our development partners, and locally. And then thirdly, we have also ongoing displacement. While you are resettling people, the insurgency and other factors that brought about those displacements are also coming. But putting all this together, the government came up and developed policies that would help in shaping the humanitarian intervention. Taking the first, lack of coordination, the Federal Executive Council has approved that the National Council of State, for the first time, to be constituted so that we can have a coordinated approach in terms of humanitarian services. And preparation is ongoing. Very soon we'll have the inaugural council. We have already inaugurated a steering committee, and we have already developed the format and the policy that we are going to follow in going through the Council of State. When we do that, we'll have a document that will give us, that is not going to be a federal document, but a national document. Because when you are going to have council, you receive memo downward from both development partners, organization, even at local government level to the state, so that we can come together and iron it, discuss, and come up with a conclusion that will be giving us a framework that we are going to execute, so that in the next council we will review our decisions. So you see, that will give us coordination, and it will also save us from duplication of activities.
The Honorable Minister, sir, what efforts are being made to ensure transparency, improve and scale up the national social investment programs?
I must admit that this ministry suffers a lot of image problems because of what really happened. And we have seen the reform brought forward by the Mr. President when everything has changed. This is a ministry that was initially been headed by a minister, but as part of the reform to ensure accountability, transparency, Mr. President brought 2 ministers to the ministry. So what do? We really agree that we have image problem, and we must come up with accountability framework. If we come up with that accountability framework, we are trying to redeem the image of the ministry. We are trying to get the trust of Nigerians, because without trust, whatever we are going to do are this. And what are the decisions? The core is to make sure that whatever we are doing is accountable, transparent, reproducible, and it can also be traced and tracked. And the only way you can do that is to deploy technology. And as of today, the ministry has done that. There were a lot of controversies surrounding the National Social Register. But as of today, I want to say that all the controversies have given way to active utilization of National Social Register by both government at national and state levels, and even the local government level, and also some of our partners. For instance, now one of the major partners, Chiveli Melu, is using the National Social Register to reach out to support. And we have many other our friends that are using that National Social Register. And then why does it become so transparent is that for you to benefit on anything that has to do with conditional cash transfer or any other support, you must have digital identity. And what is that digital identity? You must have your NIN. So you see, this policy of Mr. President has given more Nigerians to now have their national identity number and also have a national identity card, so that they can now be proudly anywhere they say, we are Nigerians and this is my evidence that I'm in Nigeria. So President, we must have data. We must also have the bank verification number, the BVN. This goes to show that a lot of people initially that were in the National Social Register do not have that. So we have gone them and we have gotten them this, and they must also have account number. So, and then we also have check-in processes that we have working together with civil society organizations to track our progress, to monitor us, and to give us anything that they have observed, among the others what we are doing.
What measures is your ministry utilizing to coordinate with international partners, NGOs, and other agencies during a critical humanitarian crisis? And how do these collaborations improve preparedness for emergency response times?
What we did was to have a stakeholders meeting with all the with our partners and civil society organizations. We had 2 days engagement. And in that engagement, we have promised them we are going to do all we can to ensure that we carry them along in doing our activities. So as today, any partner that is going any part of the country will notify us, this is the program, this is what we are going, and this is the input we are going to take. And then this is, we'll now say, okay, going by that, this is also the national priority. They will now shape their decision to key into the national priority rather than hijacking, developing their own interest. Because every government has what is, there is this saying, he who sleeps in a room knows where it trends much. So if you just come in and you just go and do your own, probably that is not where the burden is. So today we have a coordinated approach with our development partners, tell them that this is where we are, this is the policy, this is where we want to go, and this is what the president minds, and this is how we want to deliver this. And that has already started producing result, as I told you. The ECOWAS is bringing in money. The European Union, I mentioned, they also have 1.5 million euro that they are bringing in that will help in our humanitarian responses. And then we have reached out to many other organizations like Qatar Foundations and many other foundations that are working. And very soon we are this. And also here, locally too, we have tried to make our activities rather than being solo. For instance, if you look at our activity in National Homegrown School Feeding Program, when I was Minister of State of Education, I don't know anything about it. But as today, it's a joint function involving Ministry of Agriculture, Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Budget and Urban Planning, Ministry of Finance, Procurement, Bureau of Public Procurement, all this. So as you make sure that each and every organ of government knows what is happening. And Nigerians will also be convinced that the policy of Mr. President of making inclusivity to be very important in execution of humanitarian activity will now make it more public than just restricted to a few group of people that knows what is happening. So it is time to create awareness that, look, the government that comes up with reform, that government also put forward a buffer that is being worked out and people are benefiting, but only that the publicity has not been that decent, and we are going to address the publicity aspect of the program.
What is your ministry doing to improve the living standard of vulnerable people, especially people of the IDP, in terms of addressing food security and nutrition, issue of nutrition, especially in Yobe State?
Well, let me also talk to the doctor for what he's doing. The ministry is doing a lot. Well, you have to also know that this ministry, not only that is responsible for internally displaced persons, but it's also have an agency, National Commission for Migrants, Internally Displaced Persons, and this is also saddled with that responsibility. Refugees, they take care of refugees, internally displaced persons, and even people with disability too have a commission for it. And they are all working, and they have an act of National Assembly that is mandating them their program. Now, what we do is to coordinate not only for the ministry and agencies, but also nationwide. We have partnered with the National Federal Ministry of Agriculture, our Commission on the Internally Displaced Person, the NALDA, and our ministry. So we come up together with a formula whereby we establish a strong cohesion and working relationship between host community and internally displaced person. So this is what I'm saying. For the internally displaced person, what we have done is to see how we can reach out and develop this closer understanding. And it has yielded result. I was in Plateau State last year, December, to flag up the harvesting season of the joint collaborative farming between host community and internally displaced person. And then we have a very good sharing formula. Whatever is produced by the internally displaced person, 30% will be retained by them as a food component. Then the 70% will be taken by the organization that are participating in the program to give those who participate in the farming as a cash component. Because if you give them food, they have to sell that food to get cash component. So the 70% will be in form of this. And then the 70% that was obtaken by the government will not be utilized by government. It will be also taken to another MD, internally displaced person, camps, so that they can also use it. So they generate it, they utilize it, and they feed others. So, and we have succeeded, and we are planning to win some of them who have said, look, because of our good relationship with our food committee, we want to go on our own to start farming. We have already given us, you settled us, you have given up farm. Then we also have the skill of farming, and our host committee has given up farm. So we want to do that, because what we are moving now forward is to see how much we are going to run fast to develop durable solutions for internally displaced persons.
What can your ministry do, or what can you be doing to initiate permanent solutions, permanent strategies through consistent engagement that can bring about permanent solutions to the impact of flooding that we experience annually every year?
The ministry is working closely with other stakeholders, most especially the governmental organization like NEMA, and then and SEMAS in the state, and also with other international partners like Red Cross, and then other development partners within the country locally. We are working and good to this. And what we have this, and that's why we always track and monitor NAMIT's information in terms of where we expect flood and this, and then we have a very good distance. Most of the time, as soon as NEMA step in, after some few days to address the emergency challenges, the ministry will now come forward to see what can it do and develop durable solution. And that's why I said we have noticed the effect of the flood all over. And that's why we now came up with this under government enterprises and empowerment program to give soft loan that is interest-free and collateral-free to those farmers, so that they at least can listen. And then definitely, we have to ensure that. Even yesterday we had a meeting with the discussion with governors of River State and Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, so the national planning, on the issue of dry season farming. The conclusion is that we have to work towards more engaging farmers in dry season farming than the wet season farming, because it's more it's less risk, and it's something that you can control. Once you can control your items in terms of farm implement, fertilizers, and energy to water your distance, and then control the pests and birds, you are sure of having a bumper harvest. That fear that water will come. Unlike rainy season today, you see a lot of where a farmer is anticipating that in the last 20 years, what I'm going to get this year, I might not have gotten it in the last 20 years. Overnight, flood will just come and wipe down everything. So you understand. So we have to look at and plan according to how the country will reduce its risk. And the conclusion is that we have to pay much attention. And today, that's why for many years now, Kebbi State is in the, not because I'm Kebbi State, it's in the forefront of what? Rice farming. And ask anybody coming from Kebbi. That being in the forefront, it's not because of wet season farming. It is because of more engagement in dry season farming.
Minister, sir, what is this Skills to Wealth initiative, and how far have you gone with plans to create 2 million jobs this year, as outlined by the ministry?
Yes, Skill to Wealth program is a program that is entailed to impart skills to youth of our country, so that using that skill they have, they can now engage themselves in their own natural individual activities to get wealth for themselves, and also to increase the growth of GDP of Nigeria, which is, in summary, the whole lots of 8-point agenda of Mr. President as it's related to fighting poverty. You understand? You cannot fight poverty when people are not given skills. You understand? Even when I was in education, we tried to see how can we link our educational thing to skill. And today, I must say that a wonderful job is being done, because technical education is receiving more this. And what we are doing now is to see how we can do this. What the program we said, a lot of graduates pass that are not working, who are electrical engineers, and they participated in the Skill to Wealth. And today now, they have received a practical demonstration of their information, adding to their knowledge. And they are now in the market installing various this. So that's the concept of the Skill to Wealth. And we are going to do it in different dimensions. We'll continue with that program for another round of this. In terms of creating job opportunity for 2 million, you see there are a lot of areas that we're doing that. Already I've mentioned the Skill to Wealth that we're doing that. I also mentioned that now we are going to have government enterprise and empowerment programs that will give money to those who have skill. Even if you have skill, if you don't have resources, it becomes difficult. So by giving you money to allow you to utilize this is creating job opportunity for you. You understand? Nobody who is sensible enough that will get 500,000, 300,000, you will not go and invest it in this thing. For instance, now, that's why I say maybe this in many areas that you go, you can see how you can invest this thing. And when it's properly invested, it means you can have that's the creation of job is there, and then instantly also the national conditional cash transfer, which is one of the most important. As of today, we have reached out about 8.1 million Nigerians with this, and with over 300 and something, over 300 billion expended into that. Mr. President has also mentioned that in his address, and will further expatiate when the time given us, so that the doubting Thomases will be convinced that the issue is not just mentioned, but we have evidence, we have document, and we'll also bring forward people to attest that they have received those things. As I said, we are also guided by the freedom of information.
Minister, sir, how are farmers, especially women cooperative groups, benefiting from the ministry's collateral and free interest loans in order to support victims of humanitarian crisis across the country?
The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is proactive in terms of assisting women. And definitely, it has been demonstrated practically and even theoretically if you want, but more or less practically. We've seen the initiative of First Lady, who has even bring forward competition of backyard farming. Women a lot participated, and those who participated are also benefited from it. And that has encouraged more women to be into agriculture nearly, so that they're getting ready to that in the next season of the competition also will participate actively. So that has really stimulated the improvement. And also that has provided a lot of opportunities. Now women are going into agriculture, especially farming in various sectors, and to produce, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and many other things in terms of just a mini greenhouse farming. So this has really, and then you cannot make that effort to be unsupported. So definitely we'll make special reservation for women who are actively in agriculture so that they can benefit interest-free. And I'm sure that when you build economy of women, what are you addressing? You are addressing the education of the children. We men always claim that we are the sponsors, but there are those nitty-gritty that women do. When you put them collectively, they might even outnumber in terms of value of what the man is doing. A lot, once you pay your school fees, they say, no, who take care of ice cream, who take care of all this, you see a bobo that is going to school. At a lot of time, you may even forget you are not there, but your wife will do that. So at least we must make sure that the women are complementing. And they are complementing, they are supporting, they are also this. And then most of the time, a woman will cry when the child cries to go to school, without a meal or without a bobo. But by the time the child is shedding tears, the man is already outside there looking for food. So that anxiety that is being created, and that this is because of the bonding, mother-son bonding, mother-daughter bonding, must be supported. And then we are ready to do that. This not only in that, other program that is also coming. And let me say also that in National Continuous Cash Transfer, majority of the recipients are women. The majority of the recipients are women. And in my next interaction and featuring, we'll give the percentage of the total recipient who are belong to women, so that women will know that this government so much care for them.
Oh yes, despite the enormity of challenges in the line of its mandates, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction is reaching out to victims from various theaters of conflicts, natural disasters, especially the activities of flood, and taking the vulnerable out of poverty. The ministry is working hard to create jobs for millions of Nigerians through the Skills to Wealth initiative. Even women cooperative groups and farmers are not left out. Most importantly, humanitarian crisis response time and disaster risk reduction mechanisms have been enhanced as the ministry scales up interventions in all areas of its mandates. Keep a date with us. Same time next week. Reshaping Democracy will be back. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Bye-bye.